It's time for our Knicks Fix on Visa Knicks Game Night as we get set at Madison Square Garden for the New York Knicks and the Sacramento Kings. Last night in Toronto, to Linsanity and beyond. The puns just never stop. And meanwhile, tonight at Madison Square Garden, a lot of shirts that simply did not exist just 2 weeks ago on display. Al Trautwig in the Geico Studio Suite. Alan Hahn joins us from our courtside studio. He'll be part of our post-game coverage as well. You know, Alan, the Sacramento Kings come in, and they bring back memories of Jeremy Lin and his evolution process.
Yeah, it was 4 games into his career as a Knick when Jeremy Lin got into the game against the Sacramento Kings on New Year's Eve. Played little less than 4 minutes. How about 4 fouls, 2 turnovers? And you know, he struggled, and you didn't see it. And that's why everybody says, where did this come from? How could you not see this player at the end of your bench? Well, you see some of these highlights. These aren't exactly some memorable highlights for Jeremy Lin. Does come up with a steal here, but now Jet gets the offensive foul, one of his 4 fouls in those less than 4 minutes, so he struggled. But then a month later, here he is now, second half against the Rockets, getting into the paint. We actually talked about this in one of our pregame fixes, and it showed that he was a player who could break down a guard, get into the paint. 3 games after that Rockets game, he got in against the Nets, and the rest is history.
Now, nobody wants to get ahead of themselves here, but the numbers are what the numbers are. Is there any way that you can compare what Jeremy Lin is doing to the other perceived great point guards in the NBA?
Yeah, actually there are. There's some ratings out there. There's assist percentage and turnover percentage, which shows you that the more a point guard and a playmaker is handling the ball, the numbers will be consistent with some of the top playmakers in the game. For instance, Steve Nash, 58.3% assists when he's on the floor for his team's baskets. That's the highest in the league. Jeremy Lin at 48 would be number 2 if he counted right now. But you can see the turnovers as well. He had some high turnovers, 8 turnovers against the Raptors last night. Does stand out, but if you see, the percentage is right there with the guys who are handling the ball the most and making the most plays in the NBA. That shows you Chris Paul's number is very impressive, which is why he'd be considered an MVP candidate. But Jeremy Lin right now playing right at par with some of the best point guards in the NBA.
Now, some of those numbers compiled while sleeping on a couch. What's the latest on his living conditions?
Well, still sleeping on a couch. Actually, we reported last week that David Lee had called and offered his condo in White Plains and let Jeremy Lin know he could have it. But Jeremy Lin's decided he's not going to go that route. He's going to look for his own place. Still in the process right now, and David Lee will be selling his condo.
Now, the Twitter world is definitely a pulse on what's going on with Linsanity, and some famous people have weighed in.
Amazing, right? And this is great because it's among his peers, like Steve Nash of Best, for instance. It's crazy. I'm watching Linsanity, hoping every shot goes in. Hope I never grow up. A little Peter Pan there. How about Nick hater Reggie Miller, right? Actually saying, okay, I give in. It's legit. Wow, Reggie Miller's a believer now. And Shane Battier with a funny line using some Chuck Norris humor. Chuck Norris may wear Tebow pajamas, but I'm pretty sure he has Jeremy Lin on Nightlight to scare the boogeyman away. Wow, what a run. Even more, David Lee, old friend, says Jalen's shot was great. His celebration, I'll say, was fair at best. LOL. That's an inside joke because he and Jeremy Lin have been joking about the fact that he really doesn't celebrate a lot. Chris Paul, another one of his peers, watching this Knicks versus Raptors game. Huge shot by Jalen. Respect. And Manu Ginobili, who just came back from an injury. Jeremy Lin keeps getting bigger. Today, 27 points, 11 assists, and just saw the game winner. What a story. Happy for him and the game. Just terrific feedback from around the league, from Jeremy Lin's peers who are noticing that he is more than just a novelty.
It's become an absolute must-read tool to follow this league and all sports. Now, as we talk about J.R. Smith, a player we've talked about many times, coming back from China, he tweeted that he was supposed to be back in the United States today. Is he going to be a Knick or is he going somewhere else?
Well, he's still flirting with some other teams. He actually talked to Mike Brown, the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, yesterday because the Lakers are really trying hard to convince him to sign with them. They only have the veterans minimum, a prorated number, as well as the Clippers. You have Chris Paul, you have Chauncey Billups, who played with him, and Kenyon Martin as well, who came over from China, is now playing with the Clippers, who are all trying to convince him to take less money. The Knicks have the inside track because they do have Carmelo here, who he played with, and they also have that room exception, which is a little more money, $2.5 million, that they can offer him, and a spot where he could be a big-time scorer off the bench for this team and give them some of the offensive perimeter scoring they need. I'm believing and I'm hearing that he's leaning towards coming to the Knicks, and we can know something very soon. His season in China ended today.